What's up, guys? It's Chachi Power here to do a Rocket Punch Army review. Today we have the Chogokin GD-98 Mechagodzilla 1975. This is Mechagodzilla 2. One of the coolest, if not, actually it is my favorite Mechagodzilla. You know, your opinion may vary, but this is definitely my favorite. Not only because it's badass, but you know, it's also the year I was born. And yeah, let's check out the box real quick before we get started. Down here, Mechagodzilla 1975, made by Bandai, part of the Chogokin line, the GD-98. And if you looky here, you'll see it's got a piece of space titanium, which is actually made out of space titanium, or as we like to call it here on Earth, just regular die-cast metal. But yeah, so nice box. One more time, head up to the top here, check it out. Really cool. You'll see faintly in the background that there is a weird, almost helmeted look back there. I'm gonna have to show you what that is in a little bit. But for now, let's turn this around. And by the way, this is not a new figure, guys. You might have to pay a pretty penny for this, seeing as it's a 2000, I think 6 or 5. It is a 2006 release, made in China. So anyway, let's keep checking out the back here. Let's go down, and there he is in flying mode, which is really cool. So you can obviously recreate flying mode. There's that little helmeted thing I told you about. I'm still not going to tell you what it is, unless you know, because you're a fan. But off to the right, Mechagodzilla. And then here you got the two hands, the alternate hands. Basically get the regular hands, which got the little missiles, fingers, and then it's got another hand that makes it look like they've already been shot off. Then you got the chest piece that opens here. And let's see what else, what other gimmick. He does have a spinning head to create that shield thing of his. And if you look at the bottom here, you'll see that his head is missing with an arrow pointing up. I'm going to have to show you guys that later. You do have the knees with the knee missiles that pop off. And again, there is the ever popular space titanium. So why don't we go ahead, take this bad boy out. So here is Mr. Sexy, or as most people like to call him, Mechagodzilla, in all his Chogokin glory. This is simply stunning. Just check that out. This is not the real Mechagodzilla. This is actually a tiny little replica made out of diecast. I know he looks real, guys, but he's not. So as I talk about him, just let him spin around so you guys can check him out. So it's all the nice scales in the back. You got the MG2 right on his arm, Mechagodzilla 2. You can see his hands with the missiles, and the fingers are kind of bent. I think they're just from being stored in the box. They get a little bent since they're vinyl. You can see the slots on the elbows there for the articulation. Notice the wrinkled sections of the hips that cover the skeleton of it, and the segmented tail, which provides articulation, and all the nice little screws on the back of the legs. So very well built, beautiful, beautiful figure. So we're going to go ahead and check out what it can do. Alright, so here we got the head. Spins around. You'll hear it's got a nice little ratchet to one side and not to the other, because it's a ratchet. So the reason it has this is because on the back it does have this gimmick. You push down, which one is it? This one up here. Push down one of the scales and check out what it does. It does that spinning head trick for the shield feature in the movie. Let's see what else it can do. It's also got an articulated mouth, which opens. You'll see his awesome little red tongue in there. As far as other little teeny gimmicks, he does have this chest piece that opens. There you go, it's nicely detailed in there too. He's got these spinning hands, which are just part of the articulation, but that's also a feature of his where he spins his hand around in the movie. He's also got these knee missiles that pop off so you can have them shot out. You want to be careful with those, you don't want to lose them, as there is no spares. Nothing happens with the feet here, so that's as far as the gimmicks go. So why don't we check out some articulation? So again, I showed you the head, but it doesn't really go up or down. You get shoulder, not a crazy amount of shoulder, just enough for Mechagodzilla. You get the elbow. You also get a slight back and forth movement here. See that apart from the elbow. Then the wrist, what I showed you before. And you get the waist, you get the hips here. It's got a nice ratchet going in and out, and a soft ratchet, you'll see there, for the legs going forward and back. Then you do have the knee, which has a couple ratchets there. Pretty cool. And you got the ankle on a ball joint. And as far as the tail, you do have these segments here. You get this part that moves, and then this part. And the reason that straightens out that way is for flight mode, which I'm going to show you next. Now, flight mode requires you to remove the head. You want to carefully pop that out, and then grab the head, which I still have in the baggie here. First time I'll be using it. Pop it on. Once you got that popped on, come back here to the tail, straighten it out, and now Godzilla is in flight mode. It's tad cheesy if you're used to modern stuff, but this is how stuff was done in the 70s. Still badass. I usually tend to get a little lazy with accessories because I don't care much for them, even though they're cool sometimes. But you'll see his hand has the fingers on there. You also get a hand with no fingers, meaning that the missiles were shot out. So that's one piece of accessory. Now another piece of accessory, I probably should have put this on before I put the head back on, but he's got the space brain thing here, and his head has gone missing, and yeah, so that's meant to replicate the space brain thing there. It's not popped in all the way, so it's more flush. I just don't feel like forcing it. But yeah, so pretty cool stuff. Now the next bit of accessory I wanted to show you was, or is, the space titanium. Look at that thing gleam. I think this is real space titanium. But comes with that. Solid diecast. Hefty. This weighs more than some figures. But that's included. I'd be doing you guys a disservice if I didn't do this for you guys next, since you guys are probably wondering. But here is the SH Figuarts Mechagodzilla. It's a tad smaller. But what's cool about this SH... Oh, actually, it's a SH Monster Arts, not a Figure Arts. Figure Arts would be the figures, Monster Arts would be the kaiju monsters. Yeah, so here's next to him. We're going to do a review on this guy really soon, so I don't want to get into too much, but I did want to show you guys with this because this is one of the newer Mechagodzilla things out there available. So this you can get now relatively easy as opposed to this, which you might have to pay a premium on. But what's cool about this, if you like diecast, this has diecast. It's pretty hefty. Not as hefty as this guy, but pretty close actually. So not too bad. But I think that yeah, pretty much brings us to the end of the review. And for those of you old school guys wondering, yes, Mechagodzilla does come in a styrofoam box, not a plastic tray like the newer Mechagodzilla. So in case you're wondering, yeah. So that's going to be it, guys. Gonna go take some medicine before I start coughing like crazy. Like that. And until next time, bye bye.